Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Nothing to See Here podcast. Hi, it's Frankie.
It's Hannah.
Frankie, I failed you.
Oh no, how
No,
did
you
you
told me you told me about this.
how did you fail me?
I went to go see Cabaret and
Oh
I
yes, I have. Did I tell Hannah about this? No, I told you about this,
you told me about this.
and I told someone else.
It was not
Y-
me. I'm
Was it
going to take a
was it
guess and say Sasha.
yeah, I was gonna say Sasha or Jen.
It might have been Jen. It wasn't Sasha. But bringing up Sasha, Sasha and I every year do an Oscars poll, and this year we also did a Tony's poll. I'm not as like wired into modern musical theater. If it like comes to Pittsburgh and it's a show I'm interested in, I'll try and get tickets. And like I know what's happening in our area, but like up in New York, I'm not really, up to date.
I'm a little insulted that I wasn't involved in this poll.
You haven't been involved in the Oscars poll either, to be fair. This started at Seton Hill.
I don't care about the Oscars.
You got to
If you do
participate
this,
in both. You got to do both.
fine. I'll participate in both, but I'm only gonna care about one.
We did the Tonys one, and I forgot when the Tonys were, so I didn't like put any answers in until morning of the Tonys.
It was last Sunday.
I'm doing the poll, and I see the nominations, and I'm like, I don't really know anything, but like if I want to win points here against people who are in the know, I got to put some answers that they're not putting. We do a tiered system. We rank our answers, the top three. If your number one wins, you get 3 points. Number two, 2 points. Number three, 1 point. And so we get to best actor in a musical, and I'm like, Eddie Redmayne's there. Amanda raved about the performance. I'm going to take a waiver on Eddie Redmayne here, and if he wins this for me, I will love Eddie Redmayne. And he lost it, and so I once again have hatred in my heart for Eddie Redmayne.
I'd like to say that
Honestly,
even if I had to make a poll, I would have had to go with Jonathan Groff, not because I think his performance was better than Eddie Redmayne's, but because he's such a well-known name and he's never won a Tony, and people are like, well, he should have won a Tony.
I think
I
had
hadn't seen
Jonathan
his
Groff not
yeah.
been nominated, Eddie Redmayne would have won.
I
Here's the
agree with that.
issue, though. I'm not plugged into the Tony politics like I am with the Oscars. Like, I understand, like, when Leo won his Oscar for The Revenant, I knew he was going to win that Oscar because all the other performances that year were all kind of like at the same tier, and Leo had never won one before. So they're like, fuck, this isn't even his best performance. It's probably not even the best performance of the year, if we're being honest with ourselves, but he hasn't won one, so we'll give it to him. I
But they
don't
could
know
have
that
continued
stuff.
the meme.
They could have. I don't know that stuff about the Tonys. So like I didn't know that Jonathan Groff had been fucking toiling away and never won anything and had a good enough performance to get the award even if it wasn't necessarily the best performance. I'm not plugged in.
Well, this is why we should have teamed up, Frankie.
I didn't have time
We
to
could
team
have
up.
filled out your poll live on our podcast, and we would
Yeah,
have
you
helped
could have.
you.
Next year, if it comes around, we'll do that.
You should.
We're
I'd
holding
like
you
to
to that.
I'd like to say I'm sorry that Eddie lost. I hope you don't hold it against him. You should hold it against me. You did watch his Tony Award performance that everybody called creepy,
It
and
was
they can fuck
creepy,
off.
but it was creepy. It
Yeah,
was
That's
because
the
the point.
purposefully creepy. But okay, it was purposely creepy and unsettling. My problem, and I talked about Amanda with this too. My problem is this. One, Eddie Redmayne has to do something different. Most people are used to Joel Grey or Alan Cummings as the MC, and they do vastly different performances. And I don't want to get into big details, but they did it in a way that was uncomfortable for the audiences of their day. The way if Eddie Redmayne had done the same thing, it wouldn't be uncomfortable for the audience today. It's a modern audience. Things
Mhm.
change in society. So he has to do it in a different way. It's not a show that has to be stagnated as long as the allegory of what is happening in Nazi Germany as the Nazis are taking over and people are just trying to ignore it until it comes for them, gets through. The show works.
Mhm.
The problem with people seeing it on TV is that when you see it on stage, you're seeing it from much farther away. Even if you are right up there or he's right near you,
Or
You're
touching your shoulder.
touching your shoulder, you're still not there with the closeness that a high definition camera, can get you. And so when you do that performance, especially for the Tonys, you're doing a performance that you've done in a theater endless amounts of times. You're doing a performance that performance actually in a theater once again. So you're performing for the audience that is there, not necessarily the audience that is watching at home. And so the camera adds to the creepy factor because you're not supposed to see the performance that close up.
I agree with that. I agree with everything that you said. The whole point of Eddie Redmayne's take on this is to make us uncomfortable. We are supposed to be welcomed in, yes, but we're not supposed to like feel super safe. Like I don't.
There's supposed to be a building unease.
Yeah. So I just.
But I still have hate in my heart for Eddie Redmayne.
I'm sorry. Maybe we can fix that. Frankie, despite me failing you,
Yeah.
you also failed me today.
I don't know how I failed you today.
You don't know how you failed me today?
I have zero idea how I failed you today.
You definitely know how you failed me. You left mid-harangue episode.
I have responsibilities. I can't just sit around watching a K-drama that once again had a shitty ending. Once again, they've failed me. Now I'm coming into your episode, Hannah, with hatred in my heart and anger in my veins.
Would you like to
Well, guess
explain to the
what?
audience
Because-
why you don't like the endings of this K-drama specifically? Well, most
I've explained
K-dramas.
this. I've explained this on an episode.
Are you sure?
Yes. On a very recent episode, I explained it.
I don't remember.
It's out there. The fans can listen to it. It might be in the Scooby-Doo episode.
Frankie,
No.
you've also failed me.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I failed
Oh.
Hannah as well. I did fail.
Oh.
Hey, hey. If any failing that I will slightly admit to, it's for Hannah.
We both failed, Hannah.
We both failed Hannah.
That's true. Amanda also failed me.
Hannah texted me Friday, while I was at work, and she's like, "I'm mad at you," and I said, "I don't know. I don't remember what I ate this morning. You're gonna have to be more specific." And she's like, "Well, you should know because you're coming to a thing at my house this weekend." And I was like, "Fuck." So immediately after I apologized to Hannah, I called Frankie and I was like, "I forgot." And Frankie's like, "If it makes you feel better, I also forgot."
And then he still did not text me happy birthday. I had to wait till Saturday for his happy birthday text.
In my defense, I genuinely thought your birthday was on Saturday.
No excuse. You have failed me. As my friends, you have both failed me.
I was on a crisis call, okay? I had life or death situations going on. What's your excuse, Frankie?
I'm an idiot.
He admits it at least.
I genuinely thought your birthday was yesterday. I thought I got the invitation. I was like, oh, wow, that's neat. And it's her birthday, too, the same day.
No.
I was waiting until the evening so that me and my mom could call you so that we could both wish you a happy birthday. And then I got a crisis call and I was stuck in my room for 3 hours making a bunch of phone calls. And then by the time I was done, I just crashed. I apologize.
I am sorry about that.
Is there something that one of you two would like to do right now for me?
Amanda, hit it. Go.
What? No, I'm not singing.
I sang for both of you. One of you has to sing for me.
Would
Frankie.
you Hannah,
Yes.
would you instead take a nice birthday poem instead?
Acceptable.
Oh.
Okay. I'm gonna find you a nice birthday poem. Here
You
we go.
can't even make one up on the spot.
I'm not a poet. She didn't make up the song on the spot. All right, this is a poem. I'm gonna give credit where credit's due.
He's not gonna plagiarize this.
I'm not gonna
bullshit.
plagiarize a poem, right? I'm not gonna be horrible like that. And that would be really antithetical to Hannah, the only one of us that provides sources.
Yeah, I hope when I do my episode next week, y'all don't ask for sources. I have.
This is a poem that's rated 4.9 stars on poemhunter.com.
Not good enough. 5 stars only.
I doubt we're ever gonna get a 5-star poem.
Yeah.
This was written by, this is called Birthday Blessings poem by Howard the motivational poet Simon. All right, here we go.
I'm ready.
All right. The sun got out of bed, swam across the ocean, just to shine on you today. The wind climbed mountains, endured dusty deserts, just to blow on you today. The birds
What?
organized their orchestra, traveled to nearby trees, just to serenade you today. The rain descended high heavens, bowed at your feet, just to refresh you today. I join all of nature in wishing you a blessed birthday today.
I'm uncomfortable.
I'm also uncomfortable.
It's a 4.9 star poem. I'll give it 4 stars as well. Oh, I have to sign in. Fuck that. I'm not fucking signing in. I'm not creating an account on that site. Damn.
You know what? I'll do a poem too. What's a poem that doesn't rhyme called?
A non-rhyming poem. I don't think they have a special name.
I don't know. All right.
Tell her a dirty limerick, maybe. I once knew a man from Nantucket. Is
Hannah, I'm so glad your mom pushed you out of her vagina.
that the poem?
That's
Wow.
it. That's all I got.
That's
5
a bad.
stars.
Oh, boo. That's terrible. That's terrible. That was one line.
I got 5 stars.
That's
Eat a
upsetting.
dick, Frankie.
Howard the motivational poet will not be happy about this.
It's okay.
His poem made me uncomfortable
But did it motivate you?
to run away.
Well, he worked. It worked then.
Are we ready to get into the meat of today's episode then?
I'm trying to think if there's any other little things that we have to touch on. Oh, yes. To all of my listeners, our listeners, I want this to just be known, and I want this documented for history purposes. I won Clue on Saturday. I won a game of Clue against
Right.
Hannah.
One Bridgerton clue.
I won Bridgerton Clue against Hannah and Katie, my mother and Hannah's mother.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All right, yeah, we're good now.
All right. Well, it's my episode today. It's episode 36. And the last time I led an episode, I made Frankie cry because it was so long.
He still hasn't gone through the
I haven't edited it. I haven't edited it yet, so you haven't really made me cry yet.
Well, I will. I know I will. I have a short episode today. Today, I'm bringing you a story which I'm dubbing the least problematic hoax there ever was. Please give a warm welcome to the Cottingley Fairies.
Fairies?
Fairies.
Coughing?
Cottingley Fairies.
You want to spell that for me?
Cottingley.
Cottingley.
That was actually what I was expecting. Okay, cool. I
Like,
was expecting like caught, like CAU, like GHT.
are we talking like, Tinkerbell fairies?
Yes.
Are
Do you
you?
know this?
I do know this.
I thought you would. I thought it would take a minute, but you would know what I was talking about. Because
I know.
there's some famous photographs that go along with today's episode.
Not
I
only
can't wait
that,
to
there's
look at
some
Instagram
famous-
in like 2 months.
some famous influences.
Allow me to set the scene for you.
Yes, please do.
We're in the English countryside. The year is 1917.
Wait,
Our main-
whoa, hold on, real quick.
Yes.
I was watching the news, which I'll just throw this out there. I get my news from one guy. His name is Philip DeFranco. And
So
I
you
like
weren't
him
watching
very
you
much.
weren't watching the news. You were watching Philip DeFranco.
I was watching the news. And I will call it the news. Everybody everywhere is going through like a heat wave. Does anybody want to know what the heat wave over in England was in Fahrenheit?
I'll say 89 degrees.
It's 79 degrees and people were
Oh my
passing
god,
out.
that's so cold.
I know. That's hilarious to me. That's just a nice day.
It's the normal summer over here.
I know. I just think England, you're real weak when it comes to heat. You're not going to survive this climate change. Fix it. Fix
Can we go
yourself.
back to fairies now?
Yeah, you can. I'm sorry. I just wanted to yell at England for a minute.
Where was I?
I don't know.
Year is 1917. And our main characters tonight are 2 cousins Two girls. Elise Wright, who's 16 years old at the start of our story, and Frances Griffiths, age 9. Frances and her mother had just moved to England from South Africa, and they were staying with Elise's family in the village of Cottingley. The two cousins quickly bonded together despite the many years in between them. One of their favorite things to do was play in the nearby river. Now, both of their mothers hated when these two would go play in the water because they would always come back soaking wet half the time. But one day,
That's the fun of playing in water.
They're dripping
Exactly.
water in the house. They're dripping mud and water in the house. I get it. Someone's got to clean that up.
someone has to clean it up, but they're just being kids having fun. One day, Elise and Frances, when asked what they were doing when they went to play in the river, said they were playing with the fairies. The mom said bet, and Frances and Elise returned to their play area with a camera in hand. They borrowed the camera from Elise's father, and 30 minutes later, they returned with a picture. Elise's father took the film and developed it. This is what he discovered. An image of Frances behind a bush, her head and shoulders visible, and on the bush are 4 fairies who are presumably dancing. Now, Elise's father, Arthur, right away called the image fake. Elise was a talented artist, and she had spent many hours by his side in the dark room. He was basically like, hey, cute photo. I'm proud of you and your work, but it's bullshit.
I'm a big fan of this dad.
But I'm not. Way to just like snuff out your child's inner creativity.
What do you mean? He congratulated her on her creativity.
He said it was cute and was like, it's fake though.
Yeah, don't do that.
She
Yeah,
created.
Where's the whimsy, Frankie? Where's the whimsy?
How old's the girl?
Elise?
Yeah.
Elise is 16.
Ah,
and
too old for
Frances is
whimsy.
9.
No,
Too old for whimsy.
Nah.
Too old. Too old for whimsy. Whimsy
I
has to die.
still have whimsy. What are you talking about?
Whimsy
I'm
has to
27.
die at 14. The real
What
world.
happened?
The real world can't tolerate whimsy.
I have whimsy. What are you talking about? You want to tell me I don't have whimsy? You want to start a fight on this podcast?
I don't want to start a fight. I'm not saying you don't have whimsy.
Then why did my whimsy die, Frankie?
Look,
Why did it die?
you can't just go around saying that there are fairies.
You can too.
And then
Elise and Frances
People
did.
go around saying there's aliens. What?
I don't
How's that any difference?
I don't want to I don't want to get into the debate about aliens.
People go around saying ghosts.
I don't believe in ghosts either. Stop that now. Shut
How
them
is this
down
any
too.
different? How is this any different?
It's not. They're both wrong. You're right. It's not any different. Both parties incorrect. And I'll tell you this, the people claiming aliens incorrect, but not for the reasons you think.
I believe aliens are real. I just think that aliens are really boring, like organisms or something like that, like amoebas. Like
Exactly.
single cell amoebas. Like they're
That's
not
exactly what they are.
yeah, they're not
Little
human
green
bodies.
men. They're
Yeah.
not little green men like the cops we got at Kennywood that run around and abduct people. Guess
That
what?
that cup at Kennywood was ripped though. If aliens really do exist, we need to step up our game because that guy had like a
He had a 12. He had like a 12 pack. But
Yeah.
like I said, these fairies, this is the problem. We let these kids have whimsy, and now they're running around telling us ghosts are real and that aliens have 12 packs.
I don't do that, and I have whimsy.
You have a good kind of whimsy though. Like the people with the ghosts have a bad kind of whimsy.
What's my whimsy?
I'd have to think about that. Let's get back to the fairies.
Elise and Frances said the photo was real. They said fairies were real and claimed it to be genuine. 2 months pass by, and Elise and Frances borrow the camera again. This time, when they return, Arthur develops an image of Elise sitting on the ground with a 1-foot-tall gnome stepping up onto her outstretched hand.
Now we have
Arthur is
gnomes?
Fairies and gnomes, yes.
Technically, they're all part of the Fae category.
It has
Aren't-
wings, I think.
The gnome has wings?
Gnomes don't have wings.
But does this gnome have wings? I'd have to look at the photo. I don't have it in front of me.
If gnomes have wings, the people making garden gnomes have made a terrible mistake.
I don't think gnomes have wings. Haven't you seen Romeo and Juliet or Sherlock Gnome?
Unfortunately, I have seen Romeo and Juliet.
I'm going to Google the photo real quick.
Please
And
do.
we'll see if
Please.
this gnome has wings or if I'm just making shit up.
That that would be a different movie if they all had wings.
That's gonna be really, really fucking funny.
Oh, this gnome has wings.
That's not a gnome then.
What is it? It's
You
a
guys
gnome.
really have to. It's not a gnome. Gnomes
I'm
don't
gonna.
have wings.
I'm declaring it a gnome.
Give me 1 second.
It's been declared a gnome.
I think the picture is called. I think it's called officially Elise and the Dancing Gnome or something.
Oh, it's official. It's officially a gnome.
Yeah, that's where I got gnome from.
Elise called it a gnome, and you're the one over here saying I should believe her and her fairies. So you got to believe in her and her gnome.
It,
I don't make the rules. I just enforce them.
it's not a gnome. Gnomes don't have wings. It's called something else. I have to look this up.
It's called a gnome.
It's not called a fucking gnome.
A winged gnome.
It's not a winged gnome.
While Amanda looks that up, Frankie, let me tell you what Arthur thinks about this.
Okay, I'm interested.
Arthur is pissed. He believes the two photos to be, and I quote, nothing but a prank. He also believes the girls to have tampered with his camera in some way, shape, or form, and refuses to lend the two a camera again.
All right. Okay. Gnome anatomy.
Oh my god.
No,
Gnomes are bipedal.
Can
with
we-
pair of arms and legs that have opposable thumbs and are hairless, except for the hair on their heads and face. Gnomes also have long pointed ears. Unlike other fairy species, gnomes do not have wings.
Why is this the hill you want to die on?
I'm gonna die on this hill.
Why
As
are
somebody
you
who was really into the fae culture back in the day,
Why are you quoting gnome anatomy as if there's a scientific
Also, what site
textbook?
are you on?
I'm
We're
not
gonna-
gonna.
What website?
I'm not gonna talk about it.
What website? Are you on Wikipedia?
I'm
Hang
not
on.
on Wikipedia.
Are you on gnomesforus.com? What are you doing?
I'm not on it anymore. I closed it out. I'm not
Were
going.
you on a fandom wiki?
Gnomespin? Gnomespin.com?
I don't know.
Gnomehub.com?
I'm gonna hurt you both.
I don't know why Hannah's being threatened. I'm the only one making these jokes.
I'm on the CelticLady.org.
Oh, my most trusted, valuable news source is the Celtic
No,
Lady.
I trust the Irish with this.
Yeah. They would know. All right, I'll get back to you on what a gnome with wings is called.
Okay.
It's at this point the pictures of the fairies are put away for 2 years. They're a fun little thing for the family to bring out during dinner parties, but that's all they are. Until Elise's mother, Polly, brings the pictures to a meeting of the Theosophical Society. The meeting that night was focusing on fairy life.
Hey, Hannah, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What is that?
It is a short answer. It's a branch of spiritualism.
Okay, thank you.
That is the short answer. I Googled that myself, and it was a very long answer. Short answer, spiritualism. So at this meeting, Polly whips out these photos and shows them to the speaker. The speaker then takes the two photos to display at the Society's annual conference, which was held only a few months later. At the conference, one of the Society's leading members, a man by the name of Edward Gardner, becomes enthralled with the images. He believes them to be real. So what does he do? He sends the prints and the original negatives to photography expert Harold Snelling. Harold's opinion is as follows. The photos are genuine, unfaked photographs of single exposure, open-air work, show movement in all the fairy figures, and there is no trace whatsoever of studio work. He wasn't necessarily saying fairies were real, but he was saying that what the camera captured was what was in front of it. At this point, the two photos begin circulating throughout England thanks to the spiritualism community. And in 1920, they reach one very well-known man who was a big believer in spiritualism. This man was Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes. Arthur Conan Doyle sees these photos and begins running around screaming, "Fairies are real." Or at least that's what I assumed happened. At the
That's
time,
pretty good. That's pretty good. I would listen to him.
you would listen to him. Why would you listen to him?
I just think, what time are we in? What time period?
1920.
Sounds really boring. I'm gonna listen to the guy that's yelling around the street saying fairies are real. Of course I'm at least gonna pay attention.
So in 1920, Arthur Conan Doyle was researching and writing an article on fairy life, and he was trying to prove the existence of the fae.
I'm sorry. This is the man who wrote Sherlock Holmes, correct?
Yes, a prolific writer who was also really big into the spiritualism community. Now, why was he writing
I'm
about
sorry.
this?
This just popped into my head. This man's a doctor, correct?
I have no idea if he has a doctorate.
Like he has a medical license.
Does he?
I thought he did. I thought he had a medical license. I thought this man went. Yeah, I'm looking it up. He went to medical school.
Well, he believes in fairies.
He has a.
And why did he want to prove the existence of fairies? You
Why?
guys want to take some guesses?
No, I don't.
It was mainly because if he could prove fairies were indeed real, he and other believers of spiritualism could use this as a starting point to prove ghosts were real and that there's an afterlife. And to quote Arthur Conan Doyle himself, the recognition of the fae's existence will jolt the material 20th century mind out of its heavy ruts in the mud and will make it admit that there is a glamour and a mystery to life. Having discovered this, the world will not find it so difficult to accept that spiritual message supported by physical facts, which has already been so convincingly put before it.
I just like to say that this man was a supporter of compulsory vaccinations. So he fought against anti-vaxxers, and he helped prove that two people who were put in jail were actually innocent and helped exonerate them. And this man thinks fairies are real
You know, we all have our quirks.
and thinks that ghosts are real.
So he was a little spooky boy.
If by the way, if it looked like it was a gnome with wings, it wasn't a gnome. It's probably a halfling, which is a gnome mixed with like a fairy or something.
So I didn't say this before, Hannah, because I wanted to wait to see these photos until you put them on Instagram.
Uh-huh.
But I'm on Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Wikipedia page just to confirm that he went to medical school.
Yes.
Did he?
And he did. He did. He has an MD. He's a doctor.
Is he still practicing?
I think he's
you know what? I think
Yeah.
he's healing the ghosts actually and the fairies right now.
There you go.
He's a doctor for them. And I'm looking at this photo. On his page is one of the photos
Yes.
that you described. The
Yeah.
first one with
Yeah.
in the bush.
Yeah.
These look like fucking Barbie dolls. This looks like Rankin and Bass went in and made a fucking film.
I want to see these pictures on Instagram before I.
Oh, they will be up on Instagram. Don't you worry.
judge
Because
anything.
they're actually beautiful images.
Well, now you're making me want to look at them.
You can look at them.
Oh, what are they called? What am I looking for?
Cottingley Fairies.
This is
While-
amazing.
While you continue to look that up, let me continue my story. Arthur Conan Doyle and Edward Gardner, who was a leading member of the Theosophical Society, as I mentioned
People thought
before.
this was real?
What?
Did people actually think this was real?
Yes.
Arthur Conan Doyle, a medical doctor and one of the most celebrated writers in English literature.
He urged Elise and Francis for more photos, despite every adult in the girls' lives screaming at him that the photos were fake. But Elise and Francis were each gifted a camera by Arthur Conan Doyle and Edward Gardner. We're now in the summer of 1920, and
I'm
both girls
imagining him like J. Jonah Jameson demanding pictures of Spider-Man, but he's just demanding pictures of fairies.
You better bring me pictures
that
of
is a
fairies.
pretty good. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it.
He's sitting at his desk like pounding it. I need more fairy pictures.
And he's just screaming at a 10-year-old girl.
Yeah. Get out of here. Give me those fairies.
Both girls are back in Cottingley for summer vacation. And for quite some time, the weather sucked. It was raining, it was downpouring, like no one was going outside unless they had to. And all the adults were watching Francis and Elise like hawks. You know what Elise and Francis did?
What?
They insisted the fairies would only show themselves if the two girls were alone.
Ah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
The little pervert fairies. Little pedophile fairies.
Why does it always come back to that with you?
You want to bring kids alone in the woods? All right. It's a little weird. It's a little weird. And fairies are like 1,000 years old. That's real fucked up.
Finally, on August 19th, the girls were home alone. They went to the river and managed to capture 2 photos that showed fairies. The third image that was captured is titled Francis and the Leaping Fairy. In the image, you see Francis in profile with a fairy face level with her. In image 4, you have Elise in the left of the frame, and to her right, you have a very fashionable fairy hovering on a bush and holding a tiny flower. 2 days later, on August 21st, the girls captured their 5th and final fairy image. This image, titled Fairies in Their Sun Bath, shows a group of fairies in tall, thick grass. Arthur Conan Doyle and Edward Gardner are enthralled with these images, and Arthur Conan Doyle uses them in his article. He publishes an article about fairies in the Strand magazine's December 1920 issue. Yeah, it doesn't go over well. Everyone looks at him and thinks he's crazy for believing these photos to be real. Because of this, and these photos, the famous author would write another article for the Strand magazine the following year and a whole ass book on fairies in 1922. This man went to his grave low-key believing these images were real and that fairies existed.
That's a little sad. That's a little upsetting. I feel upset for that man. I also think man with a doctorate fucking stupid to believe that those are real.
I've looked at a lot of like, ooh, ghost photo. Look, there's a ghost boy in the backs of this photo. I've never seen such obvious fake photos in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, they should be, you're right, they should be ashamed. Here I was giving them like the benefit of the doubt. I thought that we were gonna see like little glimpses of like light or something, or like the way a camera angle looked, it just almost looked like the barest hint of something. Like these are just so obviously faked, it hurts. There was no attempt. I'm sure, for its time, what was it, 1920s? That was amazing, but nah.
So you're very firm in the camp of these are not real.
Well, you did see you called this the least problematic hoax, so I'm assuming that they came clean, or the children of these children came clean.
Or the fairy police like came forward and said, "Those aren't real fairies. We are.
We're the
They're
real
not."
fairies.
Yeah, these photos are not real. They're beautiful images to look at, but they're not real. And they are very obviously faked.
Yeah.
Lots of people pointed out that the fairies in question looked like cardboard cutouts. In the 1920s and the 1930s, these cutesy fairy and gnome images were very popular in mass market prints. You would see them on everything from pottery to cards and everything in between. Fairy tales were also very popular at the time. And if you look in image 4 specifically, you'll notice that the fairy wears some very, very trendy clothing and has a very trendy bob. Like, seriously, this fairy looks like a flapper. It's pretty obvious that this is fake.
Hey, just because the fairies live in the Fey world and don't exist doesn't mean they can't stay up to date on current fashion trends.
You think they would be even more fashionable than humans, though?
But they would be mocked, right? Like if they're not up to date on the fashion trends here and they come and visit us, they'd be mocked. They'd be horribly bullied. Not only are they small, they're not wearing the right clothes or the right hair. They gotta fit
Okay,
in.
flapper fairies it is then. No poodle skirts in sight yet. By the 1960s, technology had advanced enough that the images could be scrutinized further, and in some of the images, you could see hat pins and string holding up the fairies. It's also by this point that Elise and Francis have been tracked down by investigative journalists. Arthur Conan Doyle had changed their names in his article, but their real identities were now known.
I appreciate that. That's good on him.
He said, "These are children, fake names. Respect that." So by the 1960s and the 70s, the cousins were interviewed a few times, but they always denied faking the photos. In an interview,
That's just so bullshit.
they said they were real. They said they did not fake them. In an interview in 1966, Elise was interviewed by the Daily Express, and in this interview, she said the fairies were figments of my imagination, i.e., she somehow managed to photograph her thoughts.
That'd be cool if that was real.
And that's what the two said for years, until 1983, when they admitted they faked everything.
No!
The 80s.
Yeah.
I can't
Yes.
believe it. Tell me they aren't real fairies?
Mhm. They were interviewed by a magazine named The Unexplained. Elise admitted to copying illustrations from a book. The book in question was titled Princess Mary's Gift Book. Elise stated
Not only did they fake the photos, they fucking plagiarized the art.
they
Wait,
did.
I have a quick question real quick. Do you guys think that you guys would be caught in a Fey trap?
No,
'Cause
because they're not real. So I
I
wouldn't.
because if fairies were real.
I could never be caught in an imaginary trap.
If fairies were real, Frankie,
Yeah.
you think you could be caught in one?
No.
You think you're too smart for them?
No, because they're always like in the woods and shit, and I stay away.
I would definitely be caught in a Fey trap.
I'd like to think if I was caught in a Fey trap, I would be too much for them, and then they would send me back.
Do you think you could annoy a Fae into sending you back? Because I think I could do that if I did get
Yeah,
caught.
you definitely could. Yeah, I'm sure about it. Plus, I think there's a rule. At least they said this in Supernatural. If you like spill sugar or salt, they have to pick it up grain by grain.
That shit
and
have to count it. Yeah.
Yeah, they have to count the grains. That would piss me off enough to be like, all right, fuck off.
Do you think you could like if a middle schooler got caught in a Fae trap, they could just like bully the Fae and pinpoint their insecurity and bully
I'm
them
just gonna
enough to get
yell
out?
Skadibi toilet at them over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but like middle schoolers can pick out like everyone's like biggest insecurity and fears
That's
and just bully them
very
about
true.
it. So you think like a middle schooler could do that to a Fae and just like get out of the trap that way?
Be like, your wings
Honestly,
are small.
yes. A group of 13-year-old girls, hell yes.
Yeah.
Or boys.
Just getting out of the Fae trap by bullying them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your wings are small. Who made you those wings? And like the fairy's like, I'm real sensitive about that. Real sensitive. I didn't make my wings. I was born with them. They didn't tell me I needed to have big wings. I feel bad for this make-believe fairy that I've imagined.
You created a fairy in your mind and then bullied it, and now you feel bad for it. That's
She's
amazing.
getting sent back from the Fae realm.
I feel so bad.
That's amazing.
I told you I'm whimsy.
I don't know if that's whimsy.
That's not whimsy. That's
It's mental
rudeness.
illness.
Yeah.
I have that too.
All right. Where was I in my notes?
I don't know.
They admitted it was fake. They've betrayed us all.
The 80s.
Elise stated she copied the illustrations of dancing girls, drew wings on them, and cut them out of cardboard. She and Francis then used hat pins to prop the images up. So no evidence was ever found. The pair threw the items into the river once they were done taking photos. Here's where things get weird. Elise, she said all the images were fake. Francis, on the other hand, said something was actually captured in the final image. I think Arthur Conan Doyle said it best when he described this image, so I'm just going to quote him. Seated on the upper left-hand edge with wing well displayed is an undraped fairy, apparently considering whether it is time to get up. An earlier riser of more mature age is seen on the right, possessing abundant hair and wonderful wings. Her slightly denser body can be glimpsed within her fairy dress. What I just described is what Frances was referring to when she said something was actually captured.
The denser body?
Yeah, Arthur Conan Doyle kind of wanted to fuck the fairy.
I see the. Is it the one? I'm looking at the picture now. Is it the one on the very right edge with like the bob haircut?
No, this
Or
I
with
think
the
you're
long
looking at
hair?
image 4.
Am I looking at image 4?
You need to
know.
look at a different image, Frankie.
I thought I was looking at image 5. Isn't image 5 the one where there's
Yes,
like 9 of them?
it should just be the fairies.
Yeah, it's just the fairies.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at that one. It's called Fairies and Their Sunbath.
Okay, yes, you're on the right one. Sorry. You said Bob, and I thought you were looking at the flapper fairy.
It looks like so there's like on the very left, it's very hazy. You can barely see it. There's something in the middle that it's just a mess. That one might have fallen down, maybe like right before they snapped the
Maybe that's
shot.
possible.
There's a third one that's like a Disney animated character.
If it
And
looks like it was drawn, it was a fake fairy.
yeah, and then at
Does
the
it look like
very
one of the fairies from Fantasia?
it might have been. It looks like the blue fairy from like it looks like if someone drew the blue fairy brunette.
Ah,
And then at the very edge of the picture, the right picture, there's like a face in the flowers.
Yeah,
You can't.
that's what he's referring to.
Yeah, I think it's just a leaf. I think it's just like a misshapen leaf. He just wants to fuck a fairy. I think that's why. I don't think he wanted to believe in the afterlife at all. I think he just wants to fuck a fairy.
who doesn't want to fuck a fairy?
I don't.
Fairies are sexy, all right?
Amanda is on book talk, if you couldn't tell.
I'm not on book talk. Oh, I haven't read that book, the Sarah J. Maas book or whatever. The one that's all about fairy
Yeah.
fucking.
That whole
No.
series.
Yeah, the whole series is about fairy fucking. I haven't read that yet. I don't know if I'm gonna now.
All right.
Read the smutty fae romance.
So
Just-
we have all fake fairies except for one. There's one real fairy.
There's one real fairy.
Yeah.
That might just be a leaf.
So why did these two keep quiet for so long? Why did they never admit to faking the photos as children?
Because they wanted to hold on to the fame.
Incorrect.
They didn't want to disappoint their children, their legacy, with their lying bullshit.
Also incorrect.
Their parents told them to.
The money.
No, they didn't get money from this.
I don't know.
Elise said she and Francis were embarrassed. They were too embarrassed to admit the truth after fooling Arthur Conan Doyle.
I could believe that. I could believe that. Once you fool a doctor and he like went to his grave believing
Once
these were
you
real.
fool the creator of Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also think he's a dumbass.
He is a dumbass.
Francis said the pair were just having fun.
What were you saying, Frankie?
Yeah, continue.
I was gonna say I'm not gonna ever do an episode on him, and I don't think any of us other will like do an episode about Arthur Conan Doyle.
I don't
like,
fucking like him.
I also saw a snippet on his Wikipedia page that he was like friends with Harry Houdini, but they fell out because Arthur Conan Doyle refused to believe that Harry Houdini was just a magician doing magic tricks and not like a real fucking wizard.
I could do a whole episode on their relationship and
Please do.
spiritualism in the 20th century.
I would love to. I would listen to that.
Okay.
Yeah, that does sound like a good episode, Hannah.
I will write that down. That might take me a while to get to because it's a lot, but it's a fun ride. As I said, Francis stated the pair were just having fun. They never set out to fool anyone in the 1920s. They were just being children. And how did so many people from all walks of life get taken in by these fake photos?
They
If
weren't
you
wearing
ask,
their glasses.
they weren't wearing their glasses. If you ask Frances, she would tell you that people simply wanted to believe in the images. When I was doing my research, I came across an article from Time magazine. The author of the piece, Hazel Gaynor, wrote the following: timing of a news story is everything. And in the early 1920s, a nation reeling in the aftermath of war was perfectly primed to be enchanted by this innocent tale. Photographic evidence of magical beings easily captured the public's imagination. The existence of fairies offered comfort to grieving relatives. Photographic proof of the afterlife and of other realms where the fallen had gone. For some, it was simply a matter of which was harder to believe, that cameras could lie or that fairies were real. And that is the end of the Cottingley Fairies, the most unproblematic hoax there ever was.
That was really unproblematic.
Mm-hmm.
It was. They didn't benefit in any way from it, so I'm fine
No,
with them.
they were children. They were just being children.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Unproblematic. Thank you for this.
That was
You're
a nice
welcome.
little story.
It is. It's really sweet. And also, Arthur Conan Doyle
What a
got
dummy.
old. Oh, he got wrecked. But it's fun.
He's not as smart as his little protagonist now, is he?
Do you think like he just transferred his actual smarts into the character and he lost them all?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I should note that Arthur Conan Doyle had lost his son in World War One, like many others. So he was a huge believer in spiritualism. So
See,
he wanted to believe in the afterlife and
Well,
talk to
now
his
his dad
child like
protected
one
him.
last time. So
that's the thing though. I'm fine with if you've lost somebody and you wanna believe in the afterlife but that's fine and all of that. And it's not on Arthur. It is a little bit on Arthur Conan Doyle. He should have been taken in, but he's vulnerable at this point, right?
yeah, he was vulnerable and primed to believe
It's on the
as he wanted
people.
to.
It's on the people who promote this kind of shit. This is like the girls didn't really like they didn't do anything bad. They didn't make any money off of it. They didn't. They're kids having fun. The people who I hate, and I think you'll talk about this if you end up doing that spiritualism episode, are these people even today that are psychics, ooh, and they fucking take advantage of people who have lost people.
Yeah, yeah.
Just some of the dirt worst people.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you want me to say. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess we can just I guess we're done then.
Yeah, we can be done.
It's weird being done this early. I'm shocked. I'm like
I told you I had a short episode.
I know, but like me and Amanda can fucking extend an episode, really.
We
You guys
really
can.
can.
But a little treat to end summer. With some
And
little
summer. What do you
Yeah,
mean? This one's coming out.
it's August when this comes out.
Oh, is it?
It's June when
August
we're recording it.
It's
Yeah.
June when we're recording it, so still on theme for the summer. But when this comes out, it's end of August.
I don't know the date, so I trust you. You're the one who comes up with the episode titles and description, so I do trust you.
I don't trust anybody.
That's sad. That's a sad life you lead.
I know. I don't know. I probably trust Hannah. I imagine you're using a calculator. That's the only reason I wouldn't
A
trust
calculator.
you.
You
If
mean
you
a
were the one
calendar?
who was doing, yeah,
You mean a
who was doing
calendar?
the math. Yeah, that. You have to
I use a
add things.
calculator to figure out what date these go up.
Yeah, that.
Calculators have really developed since we were in school.
Mm-hmm.
Think it's a Texas Instrument you're using, Hannah? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
I hate you both.
You need it to
Nice.
take the SATs.
Yeah, nice. Um,
I'm
Graphing?
still in a food coma from Hannah's party yesterday. So
Well, whose fault is that?
Hannah's dad's fault.
It's your fault.
No, it's not.
It's your fault.
You missed out on spicy cheesy potatoes, pumpkin pie.
That's
Is-
I'm devastated about the pie.
Yeah, you should be. It was real good too.
I'm gonna go eat some more.
Devastated about the pie.
You should just eat some right now while he's on.
Don't do that. Not
Just
because
chew
of
it.
like how it would feel bad for me, just because the chewing on the mic would sound horrible.
I'm gonna take a picture and send it to you.
That's fair. That's fair.
You deserve that. I did send a picture to him yesterday.
Everyone in that picture looked bad, Amanda.
I know. Did the Pirates win?
They did win, yeah.
Oh, damn it.
It was a great game. Look, I'm sorry. I am sad that I missed Hannah's party.
He skipped my birthday party to go to a baseball game.
I had bought those tickets in April.
Well, you should know when my birthday is.
Yeah, you really should.
But I didn't know you were gonna have a party the weekend before or the weekend after.
That's why you don't do anything those weekends.
That's unfair. It was
That's
a
not
bobble.
unfair.
It was a bobblehead night. I'm not gonna miss a bobblehead of Andrew
Whose
McCutcheon.
bobblehead did you get?
Andrew McCutcheon.
Who the fuck?
You the other day claimed that you are a bigger Pittsburgher than I am, and you're gonna come in here and say who the fuck to Andrew McCutcheon, probably the greatest Pittsburgh Pirate in our lifetime.
Is he still on the team?
He is still on the team. They wouldn't give a bobblehead away of it. Well, they would if they were like a legendary Hall of Famer player, but like, yeah, he's on the team. You don't know who Andrew You were at the game. You went to a game last week.
I'd like to also point out how many Jello shots did I pregame that game?
You went to a game last year.
Again.
That's a you issue. That's a you issue.
You don't drink, so it's not fair.
Okay.
If somebody's paying, Hannah, if somebody's paying for all of your drinks, would you not drink?
Yeah, I would drink.
Thank you.
But that doesn't mean you have to go overboard and get blackout so you can't remember names of players on the team.
If somebody buys you a drink that's like $15, because that's how much it is, I'm not gonna refuse their drink.
Yeah, but like you have let's say you have 5 drinks, whatever. You're like, I'm done now. You can tell people, look, I don't want any more. I'm done now. You can step up and take that responsibility.
Nah.
Okay, well, with that lovely interlude, what's your episode about, Amanda?
Yes. So we're not doing a Disney thing. It'd be really funny. I've been hyping this up. It'd be really funny if I'd be like, haha, just kidding, back to Disney. No, so we're gonna be talking about some Norwegian church burnings and how these churches were burnt down all because of a music genre.
I am so intrigued. I cannot wait.
It's real fucked up.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So yeah. So that's what we're going to be talking about. It's really funny. I feel like my episodes from now on are going to be either cutesy and Disney or real fucked up.
Great.
Nice little, opposite thing going on there. So, yeah, that's what you guys have to look forward to.
Well, you listeners have some business to look forward to. We're going to take care of some business right now. If you are listening to us on YouTube, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell for a notification for whenever the newest episode is uploaded on Wednesday mornings. If you are listening to us on Spotify, remember to follow the show there and answer the episode question about what you thought of the episode through Spotify. That helps us out a lot. And leave a review. If you would like to send us an email with a question for us, any ideas for episodes that you'd like to see, any just commentary that you'd like to give us but not in a public forum and you'd like us to censor your name, you can do so over at our email address, which is
nothing to see here podcast at gmail.com. We promise we will eventually get to your question on air.
If you send us one, please do. If you would like to see some fun memes and funny images and images that correspond with the episode put up by Hannah, some great artwork done by Amanda, or take part in a weekly quiz every Friday afternoon about that week's episode release, you can do so over at our Instagram, which is
Nothing to see here, pod. As always, here is spelled Hear.
and on YouTube, the email address and Instagram handle are in the episode description below and in the episode information on Spotify. That's all the business to be taken care of. So I guess an early exit from us. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye. Don't burn down any churches.